Good morning. You are welcome to my YouTube channel, a channel created for digital designers like you. The goal is to promote and democratize digital design technologies by providing expert training and relevant industry exposures that will lead to enhanced project delivery and stimulate progress across a matrix of design disciplines. Revit Essential Training is first in a series of courses designed to achieve the set goal. In the previous lesson of part 1 of the series, before you start Revit, we looked at Revit Setup and User Interface. In this lesson, we are going to explore some sample projects that comes with the software, small projects and a large project, and see how they all work together in the Revit environment. So let's go to the Revit setup. In Revit, I'll go to the Revit menu icon, then choose File from the File menu. Go to Open submenu, and from the Open submenu, if you scroll down, you should see down here sample files. So I'll click on sample files. There are several sample files shipped to the software. There are many sample files, and all of them were created to guide you as a beginner to see what the Revit can do. And they are basically sample files, so you can see they are made up of project samples and then Revit family samples. So let me start first with a small project like Revit basic sample. So the basic sample, we have the Revit structure basic sample, we have the Revit MEP basic sample, then we have the Revit architecture basic sample. So let me open the Revit architecture basic sample first. So the Revit architecture basic sample start up with this startup screen showing you Autodesk Revit basic sample project, a 3D impression of it, some interior views and exterior views of it. This one, for instance, is exterior section view, perspective, section in perspective, that is here. It comes on the title block, okay, with some basic parameters on the title block. And let me open up the project browser a bit. I've told you, in case you don't see the project browser in your work, you can, let me close all the navigation items that will guide us and start from scratch. So this is basically the project. Okay, so I'll go to the view menu here, view, and then go to Windows panel, and the Windows panel you should see user interface. Click on user interface and activate project browser. This will open the project browser for you to be able to navigate through the project that we are going to work on. And it is organized under 7 subheadings or 7 objects. We have views, legends, schedules and quantities, sheets, families, groups, and Revit links. Every project that you work on in the Revit environment is made up of these 7 basic items or 7 basic elements, group or category of elements that you can work with, and they're all organized in the project browser. Your understanding of and use of all the 7 items here is very essential for you to be able to understand the Revit very well. Again, you also need another palette. So I can easily right click on the screen and then choose properties, or I can go to the user interface here also and then choose properties. I'll get the same dialog box. So I'll go to user interface and choose properties. It will open the properties dialog box. Please, this properties dialog box advisably must always be open anytime you are working, so that you can check on what you are what parameter or what object and the parameters associated with the object that you are working on. So for instance, these properties here tells us that with nothing selected, it tells that we are in a sheet, as we can see from the title here. And the sheet properties are all here. We have graphical properties, identity properties, and other properties for the sheet. So when I open the graphics properties, it gives me 2 sub parameters for the graphics. If I open the identity data, there are a lot more of properties related to the sheet, including the sheet number, the sheet name, the sheet issue date, whether it appears in the sheet list or not, the approved by, the design by, and then the check by, all of them here. If you go to the other, we have guide grid and then file path, where the file is coming from. In case I close the properties browser, I can also right click on the screen here and then bring the properties browser. You should always know how easy life will be easier for you. I can also close it and then use keyboard shortcut Ctrl 1. If I use Ctrl 1, keyboard shortcut Ctrl 1, it also opens the properties browser. I also need to get my navigation object so that I can also navigate very well. So I choose the navigation bar, which will bring me here. So with the navigation bar, I can go in and select from the drop down and then choose zoom to fit. If I zoom to fit, it will fit the whole screen. If I go down and then choose zoom in region, I can zoom in into a specific region, say the scheduled area here, and then zoom in and then see the details of what is there. You can also choose zoom out. If you choose zoom out, then to zoom out for you. You can choose zoom in, zoom sheet size, then it will zoom into the exact sheet size that we are working on. And the sheet is very big, that's why you see only a small portion on the screen, as you can see here. You can also choose to use a previous zoom or previous pan. So when I click on the previous pan of zoom, it will zoom to the previous option. I can also decide to activate the navigation wheel for the zoom, and it's the 2D wheel we have here. So when I click on this 2D wheel, the 2D wheel will also become active for me to be able to use. You can use it to pan the drawing. Okay, you can pan it any up or down the way you want by pressing your mouse key down and then panning. You can also use it to zoom in and then zoom out, zoom in and then zoom out. Okay, you can also choose the rewind option here to rewind to the previous view that you have been in, and Revit will rewind up to a certain point that you want. Okay, so let me close this. So for now, this project browser and this properties browser that you see, the two of them are enough for us to explore our project very well. Now let's go zoom into the project browser. And if you look at the project browser, it gives you the title of the project, RAC_basic_sample_project. That is the same thing you see on the title bar here. Okay, and it is made up of views, legends, schedules and quantities, sheets, families, groups, and then Revit links. Let's start with the views. When I open the views items, you see that the view is also organized under floor plans, 3D views, elevation, section wall, sections, building sections, wall section, detail views, detail renderings. This is the views that came with this specific project. There can be more depending upon the kind of project you are working on. So when you go to the floor plans, there's level 1, level 2, and then the site. So I'll open the site, for instance. This will give us the site plan for the project. This is the whole site, showing you the site with a property boundary around it. If you zoom into the property boundary, realize that it has the length of the property and then the orientation of this side of the property. For all the sides of the property, it gives you the length and then the orientation. And this is a parametric information that this property tag is extracting from these property lines that you can see around. If you go here also, you can see that this one too, it has extracted the length of this line segment from here to here and giving the orientation in relation to the site. The same thing applies to all of us here. Even the portion here is even a curved portion. It can give you this one to the property parameters also. So you can see that the building is situated on a very big site with a large expanse of land and some trees scattered around the building. As you can see, all of them. All the trees have been tagged with specific tag numbers. T1, T2, T3. So for instance, when I select this tree, okay, and I go to edit type in the properties dialog box, you should realize that this T1 that we see here is called type mark 1. That's for the type of tree we are talking about here. So it is being extracted from the model. As if I select this one too, you realize that, and I go to edit type, you realize that it is called type mark T4. You can just click on it and then name it any way you want. But for now, I will not edit it. When you come in here, you see the building here, showing the extent of the building and then the property line. There's also the topographical map that you can see here, which you can see also. And if you select it, Revit will show you the contour intervals on the topo from all the way to the end here. So the elevation of each contour related to the map. Okay, this one is -5,000, and here it's about 0 and 4,000 and so on and so forth. So all the topo data that you need, you can easily generate them. All the property boundaries you also need, you can also do that. So let me look at level 1. The level 1 shows you the floor plan at this level. It's a small residential scheme with a kitchen and a dining area here, a hall, a bathroom, laundry, a mechanical room, and then a living area here. Then there's a deck at the back here with 2 doors that you can use to access the deck. The 2 doors, each one have their own tags given their property. So this one has been identified as 106A, and this door has been identified as 106B. If you come here to the left here, there's an outdoor living area here that you can see from the project. And within the kitchen area, you see that there are some dining sets. If you click on it, this one will give you a dining table, and from the properties you know that it is a furniture and one item is selected. Okay, and it is telling that it is a dining table 01 stroke into bracket M, which there is a metric sample dining table with these specific dimensions here. And you can see that from constraints, you see the properties are all categorized. So normally I prefer to minimize them and then open the one that I'm interested in so that I can edit that particular properties or parameters. You see that there is on level 1. The elevation from the level is given as 0, and it is being hosted on the floor, and the floor is general floor 150 mm. It has no offset from the host, which is the floor. If you go to identity data, there are no specific entry made for the identity data. And if you go to the facing, it was created in the working drawing phase. And although there are other phases, there's a working drawings, and there's a learning content. So it was created in the existing drawing phase. And if you go to demolish, no phase was demolished here. If I select this object here is a concrete structural column, and basically it's a metric concrete round column with drop caps. So that's the concrete base that you can see here. Here also, if I select here, you see that it's a furniture and it's a dining chair type 3, and it has also the same properties like we had for a table. If I zoom in and I select on this item also, it is a white porcelain plate, fine china plate, and it is also a generic model that has been put in the model. The object here, you can see here, is a water glass. So with Revit, the things that you can input into your model are unlimited. You can input any building component you want to see here. From here, you can see that there's a cabinet, a kitchen cabinet with an island. Okay, and on top of the kitchen cabinet you can see auto vase. It's a tall vase which you can see here. If you take a 3D shot of this view, you appreciate this one in all in 3D. But now we are exploring the plan. As you can see, there is also some items here in the circular form. When you click on it, it gives you that it's a model group which is made up of 3 items, which is here. You can click on this and then increase or decrease the number of the model group. You see the same model group also here, and it's called an array of group 3. Okay, now on the left here also you should see a kitchen island also on the left. So there are 2 kitchen islands, one here and then one there, as you can see. If you come to the bathroom area here and you zoom in, you realize that there is 2 plumbing fixtures in the bathroom. What you see here is a lavatory, total luminous rectangular vessel. I'm looking at the name from here. Okay, this is the name of the lavatory, as you can see here. If you go to edit type here, you should see the family on which it is coming from and then the type of it that you can see. So that's the name, that's the family name and then the type. And that's the same thing that you see here, the family name and then the type, which is the standard here. There's also a WC which you can see here. Okay, and there's a door that leads to the lavatory, and this door is also a single flash door, 800 by 2100 mm. There's another door also that leads from what name? Let me check the name of the space they've given the toilet. If you say I'm fine, if I click on this one, you see it is a room, and the name of the room is called a bath. Okay, a bathroom, and then there's no bath, by the way. If you go inside, you should see a laundry here, and this is a laundry area also, and there are 2 equipment here. One of them is a tumble dryer, male tumble dryer, and this one you see here is a male washing machine. Okay, and that's the laundry that you can see. Now if I come in here to the living area here, the living area has about some items here also. A fireplace hang. There's some furniture also here, and if you select the furniture, it gives you single seat with island, model with island. Okay, and it gives you all the properties related to the furniture. You can see here also there is a sofa, Ottoman sofa, which they've also placed here, and right here also you should see seating, a thermos lounge chair. So almost all the components that makes a living space available have been added here. There's also a door here that leads outside, and this is a curtain wall double glass which is hosted within this curtain wall that you see here, and this gives you the curtain wall, SH curtain wall that you can see here. Then on top here is the deck. Now let's go to level 2 and see level 2. The level 2 is made up of a master bedroom, a master bath, and then 2 other bedrooms with an entrance hall in between them. And if you look at it, they've been color coded. The 2 bedrooms have their own color. The master bedroom has its own color. The master bath has also a color on its own. Then we have the other bathrooms shared by these 2 bedrooms that you can see here. There's also a corridor here. Each item has been given a specific type. So if you look at it, this is a window, and this window has a type mark of 46. This window too has a type mark of 46. And when I select this door, you realize that this door also has a mark of 208B, which you can see here. There is a difference between a mark, which is for a single unit of the object, and then a type mark, which is for the type of the object that you are dealing with, for instance. So for instance, this door here is pocket slider door 5851. It's the same door you see here, pocket slider door 5851. But you can see 2 instances of the same door, and this instance has a different type mark from this instance. So this instance is 208A, mark, and this instance has a 208B mark, which you can see here, and it is the same door. But when I select the door and I go to edit type, you realize that it has a type mark of, if you scroll down here, a type mark of 51 as of now. Numbering convention, naming conventions are very critical in the design. Normally, if you get to the, let me leave it here for now. So it has a type mark of 51. So in the same way, if I select this door also, because the same door type, and I go to edit type, it also gives me a type mark of 51 because they are all the same door types. Let me check here also. There's a shower here. This shower tool is a shower store 2D object. It's a 2D object, it's not a 3D object that if you installed. And meanwhile, this WC is a 3D object that you've also installed. So you can decide to work with 2D object, or you can decide to work with 3D object, depending upon the intent of your program. Now, and that's what Autodesk is trying to illustrate with this model here. We also have a lavatory, which is also a 3D object, which is also installed over here. Now, if I zoom in to the deck here and zoom in, you realize that there's this object here. When you select it, it is a precast stair that they've installed. Okay, and they've been giving some specific base level, base offset. I don't know why they will associate the base level to ceiling, but that is what it is here. And then the top level of level 2. You see, let me say something here whilst we go along. Your naming convention is very critical. If you are naming your levels, name your levels very well. Combining ceilings and level 2 and level 3 at times can be very confusing, as you see as you move along. So take note of some of these things. There is also an observation deck here, and if I click on it, it has a property that it is a text, and it has a text properties, as you can see here also. These are all grid lines that have been assigned with grid spacing of 3000 mm in between all of them, and they all have their grid numbers and then their grid symbol also here. So this is a grid line, and then this is a grid line. You realize that when you select the grid line, there's no grid head at the other end. It is by design of the person who did this work. You can click on it and decide to activate it by checking on this box here, this empty box. When you check it, then you can show it. But for the purpose of teaching, let me uncheck it also. Now, what you see at the bottom here is the room legend, giving you all the color representation that you see on the floor plan, what they need. So the bath you see here, that's the legend for it. The bedrooms, the entry hall, the living room, the master bath, and then the master bedroom. Okay, now let's look at the 3D views. I'll open the approach view. Now, this is the approach view of the project. Okay, it's very dark, it's not clear, but that's what it is. Let's open from the yard. This from the yard of the property. You can see the building from the yard as it is over here, and this gives you a 3D impression of it. From the kitchen, to open your some place. This is the view from the kitchen also. The whole model is very dark. I don't know why it is so, but we will look at maybe when we explore that project, we'll see how best we can fine tune the views to come the way we expect them to be. From the living room, the section perspective, and then the solar analysis view. Then there's a default 3D view also. So let me open out and show you. So this is the default 3D view showing the building in context. Now let's go to the building elevations. We have the east elevation. Okay. Showing you in the elevation, one thing that you should take note is that in the elevation you can see all your levels labeled. Some of the levels are in black the other levels are in the level heads. The symbol are in black and some are in blue. I don't know if you work in Revit, these things comes up basically, and it's a major problem for new beginners when they are working levels. Any level that is in blue means that that level defines a floor plan or a ceiling plan or a structural plan or any form of a plan. If the level head is in black, then it means that it does not define a floor plan. It has only been defined as a level, but there is no associated floor plan with it. Okay, so foundation level, level 1 living room, ceiling and roof line have no associated floor plans, but level 1 and level 2 have associated floor plan, as we can see here. The site also is, you see, the site is not seen in the list, but when you select the site from the project browser, you realize and scroll to the properties down here at the extent here. Let me minimize everything so you can see what the point I want to make. Minimize identity data and then look at extent. You see that the associated level for the site is level 1. That's the associated level for the site is called level 1. And if you go to identity data, it has been given a view name of what? Site 1. What happened was that the level 1 was duplicated and given a new name called Site 1. You can duplicate any floor plan and then rename it and then use it the way you want to use it for the intended purpose. Now let's look at the north elevation also. So this is the north elevation, as you can see. And it has been given simple headline display with some shadows activated. So you can see some shadows at the bottom here, and you can see the shadows of the railings also. Okay, let's go to the south elevation. The same way as the north elevation, you can see some shadows of the trees follow the building stuff. And within the west elevation, so this is the west elevation also of the building, showing the gray lines and stuff. As you see, it's the same gray line that we see on the plan that we see here. Okay, so if you want to change the gray label, for instance, and come in here and click on it, you can easily click on the gray label here and then change it. If you go to the floor plan, you see it updated appropriately. Now let's look at sections. We have a building section, then we have a wall section. So the building section, this one building section showing you the interior spaces of the building. Okay, so we have a building section here. They have not been labeled. Okay, this just gives you the items as you can see them. So you can easily see that there's a door here, and if you click on the door, it will give you the properties of the door, the level on which it is, the cell height, the mark, and the head height, and so on. If I click on this one is a microwave oven. That what you can see here is an oven, and they are all being placed in the cabinetry here. And this one is a fridge. If you can see, if you select it, to tell you that this one is also a male master cool fridge or freezer. And then on the extreme right here we have a kitchen island, as you can see here. Okay, and if you come to the right and go to the living room, you see some doors here. Okay, this is a door. If you check the property, actually it's a window, single window here. This is another window, and this is another window. And if you select the window here, for instance, you realize that the window has specific properties. The installed depth from outside is 0. The level is level 1 living room. The cell height is 0. It has materials for the frame, for the glass, for the casement, window sill interior, and then the window sill exterior. You can give all of the materials if you want to. And it has dimension properties of a width of 1,500 and a height of 2,700. So it's a very high window spanning from the bottom of the floor level to the one floor to another floor level. Now let's look at the longitudinal section. The longitudinal section also shows you how all the other building elements relate to each other. The elements you see in crosses are the rooms, and if you take, let's say for instance, this room object here, it will tell you that the room is spanning from level 1, the upper limit is also level 1, and then the limit of set is 4,000. And if you look at it, it is spanning from all the way here all the way up to the top here, although the room expands up to this floor here. Okay, this is, and I normally would not recommend you setting the level of a room and then the upper limit of the room at the same level. And that's what you have to do it. You look at other drawings and see how it was also done. And there is a default offset of 4,000. Meanwhile, if you check this 4,000, it goes way beyond the room. So if you report this room, it will not give us the information that we actually need. Okay. And the name of the room number is room 101, and then the room name is kitchen and then dining. Let's look at the stairs section. The stairs section is also here. It gives you the details of the stair area with the railings of the stair. Okay. And then we have the levels also, as you can see also here. There's a call out here, label 418-105, giving you a detail of the stair. If I double click on this call out, it will open the stair area detail for me in a different view, as you can see here. Okay, so that's a call out that you can see this, which you can also place on another sheet as a different view, as you can see. So I'll close it. Let's go to the wall sections. There's a typical wall section here view, which you can see, typical wall section. And if you look at it, this is a wall section being detailed all the way from here. And if you want to know where this view is coming from, you can right click from this view, okay, and then choose find referring view. If you go to find referring view, it will tell you that it is from the building section view, and you can open that view. So if you go to the building section view and you zoom through, you see that the wall section that we are looking at is here. So they took this view from here, and when you double click on it, it was detailed here also. And if you look at this wall section too, there have been some call out details here at the roofing level, at the slab level, and then at this level here. So you can open this one too as a detailed view and then have a look at it. Okay. Let me go back. When you go back here to the floor level, to see that this one is also another detailed view, which you can open and also have a look at how the detail all fits together. And this one has not been annotated yet. We have detailed views also. This is the main stair detail, the one we opened previously. Okay, this is a typical floor construction detail, typical foundation detail, and a typical wall roof connection detail. And all of these details were extracted from the wall section here, as you can see. So when you select this detail and go to the properties, you know that it is, let me open the view a bit from here. You know that it is called typical wall roof connection detail. That is the view name. Okay, and it is a detailed view which you can see here. Now let's look at the renderings. The renderings, we have an approach rendering from the building. This is it. And this approach rendering, I guess, was generated from the 3D approach view here. So you see that it's the same approach view that we see here. So from this view, they did a rendering of it and save it as approach rendering view. Then from the yard also, this is another rendering from the yard, which is associated with this yard also, as you can see from here. There's a kitchen rendering. Okay, realistic rendering. It's not that bad, but it can be improved upon if you want to. Then there's a living room rendering also. Okay, giving a lot of daylighting into the room. You can see the furniture, the artificial light here, the natural light coming from the outside, the trees, a woman standing there, an entourage standing on the deck, and then two chairs here. Okay, There's a section perspective also, which has also been rendered, as you can see from this view. Okay, there are no legend in this project. If I open a legend, there's no legend associated with this project. So let me minimize the views now. There are no legends. Let's check the schedules. There are only 2 schedules within the project. So how do I, if I open the how do I schedules, to learn more about the content of this sample project, blah blah blah. Okay, it gives you how you can navigate through the project and stuff. So this is the level, the topic that you want to learn about, and then what view you can find it in. Then there's a planting schedule, giving you a schedule of all the plants within the project, and each plant has been given a type mark of T and instance mark of 1. So we have T1, T2 up to T7, and T1 has 8 of them, a count of 8. T2 has a count of 1, and then T7 has a count of 1. When you click on T1 and go to highlighting model, it will open an appropriate view where you can see the T1. And look at it, you can see all of them selected here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the T1 plant. And you can see their appropriate tags connected with them, T1, T1, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at sheets. There are basically about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sheets associated with the project. So the first one is a title sheet. This is a title sheet, and if you zoom into the sheet properties here, you see the name of the title here, the title sheet, the sheet number, the sheet issue date, drawn by, designed by, the sheet number is here, and the scale of the sheet, okay, or of the object on the sheet. Every object on the sheet has a scale of 1:1, because most of them are rendering views, and then this one is also a schedule sheet, so they will not scale properly. And there's also a revision table associated with the sheet with no entries. You can also see the Autodesk logo here and the name of the Autodesk with an address, website address to the Autodesk website, which you can see here. They've made provision for consultant information to be provided, but no entries have been made for the consultant data, as you can see from the sheets also. So let's look at the site plan. The site plan, as you can see, is here. You can see there are 2 views and there's 1 schedule on the site plan. The view here is the solar analysis view, and then the view you see here is the site plan view. And if you open the views and go to site plan here, this is the site plan view which you can see here. So if I select it here, the properties I'll see here, let me open, say for instance, the identity data that you see here. When I select the same site plan here from this sheet, that is the same properties that I'm also going to see here. It's the same thing. Okay. Now, if you zoom in, there's a schedule here on this sheet, and it is called planting schedule sheet. So that planting schedule sheet is also coming from the schedule and quantities list. So that's the planting schedule sheet here. That is what they drag onto this sheet, as you can see over here. Now let's go to the plans. On the plans, they've placed 2 floor plans on one sheet. Level 1 here, and then level 2 here on the same sheet. You can decide to move them and position them anywhere you want. You can select one of them and then drag it to the bottom as it is here. Depending upon the representation you want to do, you can do that. And you realize that there's a long bar here all the way to the end. Maybe you don't like you can just select the view and then drag it to the back like this. Okay, and it will be shorter. And you can also select this one also and then drag it down, and it will also be very short for you also, as you can see here. Let's look at the elevations and sections. The elevations and section also, there are two views on the elevations and section sheet. The first view is the south elevation view, and the other view is the longitudinal section view. So in effect, they've placed two views, one elevation and one section, on this sheet, and the sheet has been labeled elevations to God sections. Okay, and each one of them have a scale of 1 in 100. A scale of 1 in 100. That is why you see a scale of 1 in 100 also over here. Let's go to the next sheet. Elevation and sections to detail. Elevation and section to detail. You see, there's an elevation view, one west elevation here, one building section here, then the wall section is also here, and then the details associated with the wall sections have all been composed on this sheet, as you can see. So the possibilities of views arrangement on sheet is limitless. It depends upon what kind of information you want to convey, whom you want to convey the information to. That will determine the contents that you are going to place on a particular sheet at any point in time. So let's look at this one too. Building stair sheet. Here too, when the sheet opens, you realize that there's a stair section here, the main stair call out here, and then the east elevation also here. So the sheet can be organized provided you have any view. You can just pull and drag any view onto any sheet at any point in time. So these are the sheets so far associated with this project. Now let's go to the families. This is a long list of items, very long list. It gives you all the list of items that have been loaded into the project that you can use as part of your project. It's made up of 2D objects and then 3D objects. Okay, all the 2D objects are grouped under annotation symbols here. Then the remaining items are all 3D objects that you can work with in the project, as you can see. There's one other object that is not basically a 3D object, but it's a very powerful object that we use in modeling. It's called profiles from this list. A profile is not a 3D object, it's just a 2D line drawing, but it is very useful in creating complex extrusions, complex revolves, and other modeling tools that you want to work with. Profiles comes in very handy for these purposes. Apart from that, the remaining items are all 3D objects that you can work with, including doors, ducts, floors, furniture, all the way down to walls and then windows. So if I open windows, for instance, here, you realize that in this project there are two families of windows, M skylight and then single window. Now when I take the single window and I open it, there's only one standard window for the window here, just one standard window loaded with the project. When I open the M skylight, there's only one standard skylight window, which you can see here. Okay, for walls, when you open walls, basically there are three families of walls: the basic wall type, the curtain wall, and then the stack wall family. Most of the time we work with the basic wall, and in some situations we work with curtain walls and stack walls, depending upon the project. In this project, with the basic wall type, you see a list of basic walls: cavity wall sliders, CLW1, exterior block on metal star, and so on and so forth. Please, the naming, take note of the naming. They've given shortcuts here and they've given full names here. Okay, and if you come here, they've specified that it is an interior partition. If you come here, they specify that it is an exterior whatever. If you are also working with walls, you must also find proper ways and means of naming your walls, because if you don't name them properly, at times it can be very confusing, especially if you want to share your file with another person to work with. There is no consistency in the naming of the walls, as you can see here. If you go to curtain walls, there is only one curtain wall within the project, SH curtain wall. You see, it still boils down to naming. If you look at stack walls, there's only one stack wall, okay, which is also here. Now, if I look at, let's say for instance, let's look at roofs. there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roof family elements. That's the basic roof, fascia, gutter, roof surface, and then slope glazing. And if I look at the basic roof family, there are only 2 types in this project. If I look at the fascia, there's only 1 type of fascia. The roof gutter, only 1 type of roof gutter. Roof surface, only 1 type of roof surface. And the slope glazing too, only 1 type of slope glazing. If you are working on a project, take your time and then explore this family content as they are in the project. Let's go up and let me look at, for instance, say doors. When I open the doors, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 door families loaded within this project, and it's made up of curtain wall double glass, entrance door, double flash door, pocket slider door, and then single flash door. Okay, so these are the doors that are loaded, and each one of them will have types and directions. So another curtain wall double glass, there's only 1 type. Entrance door, only 1 type. Double flash door, 2 doors, only 1 type. Pocket slider door, there's only 1 type. And then the single flash door also, there's only 1 type. Please look at the naming conventions very well. This one is 800 by 2100. This one is 2.027 by 0.945. This one is 1 by mm. You see, there's no consistency in the naming. This one also has been labeled as entrance door. So it can be very confusing if your names or your contents are named in this manner. Okay. Detail items. There are some few detail items here. Just 3 family of detail items. Brick UK standard, field region, and then M brick line. So there's only 1 single M brick line, 1 field region, and then 1 brick section, as you can see from here. So the families list can be a long list. Let's look at the annotation families, for instance. These are the 2D content that is used within the software, and it can be very long. We have the A1 metric, which is a title block, automatic up and down arrows, fixed up direction, help button, M callout head, M door tag, M elevation mark. All the MMM are the metric samples that are shipped with the software. Okay, we have the north arrow, planting tag, and then the property line tag also. And if you look at property line tag, there's only 1 type under it. The planting tag, only 1 type under it. And if you look at the door tag also, there's also only 1 type under it. Therefore, each item you can have different types if you want to under them. Now, so that's enough for this family. So we look at the families in other projects. For the groups also, there are 2 types of group: detail group element and a model group element. And within this project, there's no detail group items, and there's only 1 model group item called array group 1. The array group 1, the name is not semantic. So it is very difficult for you to know what it really means. Okay, so if the name is semantically named, that is properly named, and that one you can know what object it relates to. So, and there are Revit links, and you see that there are also no Revit link within this project. So I'll minimize all of them, and you can see all of them again. So basically, this is what this project is entailing, as you can see from what you discussed so far. So these 7 items: views or legends, schedules and quantities, sheets, families, groups, and Revit links, they run through every single project. Your ability to explore and then use all of them will separate you from other Revit users in terms of project management or Revit project management, and it will go a long way to help you to manage your project properly. Okay, so that's enough for this project. So I'll close this project and then open another project. So I'll go to File, New, or go to Open, then scroll down to Sample Files, and I'll open the technical school here. That is what they use. It's a bigger project as compared to what we looked at previously. And there's the advanced, and that's what they use for the advanced MEP project also. And then there's a structural version of it also, which you can see. So let me open the technical school architecture. Now the technical school architecture opens with this 3D impression as a startup view, unlike the previous one when it opens with a sheet. This one opens with a startup view of this 3D impression. But let me go to the side so you will appreciate it in context. So this is the side view that we've opened, and it shows you a very big site, okay, with a property boundary defined around it as this, the one highlighted in blue. This one, that's the property boundary that I've highlighted. So the property boundary gives you the dimensions of the property around in which the building is going to be placed on the site. That's the property boundary. Then let me also open a 3D impression view so you can see it in context in 3D view also. So that's the same project that's opening the 3D. So this is a 3D impression. So the site is here, it's sitting on a flat base with some slopy sides at the back and slopy sides at the front here. You can use this view cube you see in the upper right corner here to navigate your 3D model. So I can click on this corner so I can see this side of the project. I can click on that corner so I can see the back side of the project also. Okay, you just have to be patient. If you click on the back here, it will open the back for you to see the back in elevation view, as you can see here. You can use this one on the front here. You click on it, then to show you the front of the project also, as you can see, the right side of the project also, as you can see. Now let me go straight away and explore the project browser once again for this project, because that is the focus for this discussion. So you appreciate how to navigate around your project using the project browser. From the left here, you can see the views, the legends, the schedules, the sheets, the families, groups, and then Revit links. The views is populated. That is why we see the plus sign here. The legend is not populated, so you don't see any plus sign. The schedules and quantities is also populated. That's why you see a plus sign. All the remaining items, apart from the legends and then the Revit links, everything is populated. That's why you see the plus sign. So the legends and the Revit links are not populated. That's why you don't see anything there. So I'll just open the views and then go to the floor plans. At this time around, I'm skipping very fast so I can appreciate it. You open entry level 1. This is entry level 1 of the floor plan. If you zoom in a bit, you see that the rooms have been labeled with numbers. There's a slab here which has been given a texture on the surface. There's another slab here with a different texture on the surface also. So the texture on this slab surface is different from the texture on this exterior slab surface. If you zoom in, you can select any item that you want to select and then observe the properties associated with that object here. Okay, so if I come here, for example, hover on this one to highlight this room that I've selected, and if you go to the properties, you know that it is the cafeteria with a room number of 121. Okay, the same thing is applied to this one, conference room here, and it is labeled as room number 123, and then the name is what, conference room. All the other parameters for the rooms have not been updated. Something I will not recommend in a BIM model. You should make the conscious effort to update all the relevant data you need to update for the intended purpose of the project here. If you come to the extreme left here, you see the grid lines. The grid lines are up here, and then the grid lines at the side. So this one is labeled grid A with a grid symbol here and stuff. What you see here is a text. Okay, it's a text. You select it. It is a text with font size of 2.5 mm and a font type of area by the name here. Let me check by editing type to confirm if really the text font is area and then the text size is 2.5 mm. Yes, that's confirmed. So I can go to OK now. Now if you zoom in down a bit, what you see there's some dashed lines on the object. If you hover over the object, it tells you that this object from the status bar, so look at the status bar here. When I hover over the object, it tells me that it is a roof, a basic roof and a generic roof as such, with a size of 75 mm, and that's the same thing you see when by the icon at the footer. That's what you see here. Now if you zoom in a bit and go down here, you see that there are stairs here. You can see stairs model. There's a stair in this corner here, and then there are other rooms, as you can see. When I open the entry level furniture, the same entry level duplicated, but this time around we focus on furniture only. But at least I see furniture at the upper left corner here. All the other rooms, there are no furniture in them. So as you can see, there are no furniture, but the focus is on furniture. I can only see furniture here in these rooms here, as you can see. This is the floor level 2. The floor level 2 is also a different floor plan, as you can see here, in the same representation as the other floor plan. I'll skip the other floor plans and then go to say the ceiling plan. So level 1 ceiling, entry level 1 ceiling. This gives you the reflected ceiling plan of the project that we are looking at, with some ceiling objects rendered with a grid format. As you can see here, as you can see, they've all been rendered. And if you go here, there's a different ceiling design shape here. As you can see, when you select the ceiling, you see the outline for the ceiling, as you can see with this shape here. Okay, as you can see the ceiling, and when it is selected, you realize that there's this tool, edit boundary, as you can see at the up here, edit boundary. This edit boundary means that you can click on it and then edit the boundary of the design, and this is a sketch, so you can redraw it again and then draw any shape of ceiling that you want. But I will not edit it as of now. These ones will automatically place in the rooms, so if you want to select it, it's very difficult for you to select unless you go to maybe the edge, but still very difficult for you to select. But I can rather do a window selection like this one, and it will select the ceiling for me, and it will include other items. When it includes other items, it will be very difficult for me to see is this ceiling that I've selected. So we use the filter here. The same filter is what you see at the down here. It is telling that 8 items have been selected. So if you click on this filter, okay, I'll click on this filter icon here. Then it will bring me a dialog box showing you all the items that I've selected. 1 ceiling item, 2 room items, and 2 structural columns, and then 3 walls. I'll cancel. If I go to the same filter here, the same dialog box will pop up. So I'm not interested in rooms, I'm not interested in structural columns, so I'll uncheck all the things I'm not interested in. I'm only interested in the ceiling. And if I go to OK, it will select just the ceiling for me. Okay, and it will give me the properties of the ceiling, the level of the ceiling, height offset of the ceiling, whether it is room bounding or not. The slope is not defined. The perimeter of the ceiling is given, the area of the ceiling is given, the volume of the ceiling is given. It's like these ones have been grayed out. Those that have been grayed out are called reporting parameters, and because they are reported, you can't edit them, you cannot change them. They have been extracted from the model as it is from here. And if you want to edit the boundary of this ceiling also, you can go to edit boundary and you can select the ceiling and then edit the boundary and redraw the lines any way you want. But I will not edit them right now. Now the same thing, if you go to the level 2 floor ceiling also, it will give you the reflected ceiling plan for the level 2, as you can see from this project. So you see all the ceiling elements being placed in this level 2. So let's look at the 3D views. This is the public day rendering. Wow, good. So this is a 3D impression of the floor, a 3D camera view of the floor, the public floor area. Okay, and if you look at it, you can see that all the 3D models that you see on the floor plan are what you see here. You can zoom in and select an item if you want to. Like say you can select a railing from here. You see there are so many items. If you hover over item, you can see all the items that you have been selected. Please look at the status bar anytime that you are working. When you hover over any item, you see the name of the object you are hovering upon. So this is a door. So you can see that this is from the status bar, it reads as n single door. This is an entourage. What you see here is a wall. What you see here is a ceiling. What you see here is a model group, and so on and so forth. If you go to this one, it's called a roof, slope glazing roof. If you hover over this one, this gives you a furniture. If you hover over this one, this gives you a lighting fixture. Okay, and the view controls that you see down here can help you interact with the view. For instance, let's explore the visual styles here. For instance, if I click on the visual styles, we have different types of graphic display options. You can choose wireframe, and to give you the wireframe of what you are looking at. You can choose hidden line, then to give you a hidden line black and white display of what you are looking at. You can choose shaded, then to give you a shaded view. That was what we were looking at previously. And you can also choose consistent colors. The consistent colors will also give very consistent colors without any effect. Then we have ray trace, realistic, and if you choose realistic too, it will give you a realistic rendering as it is. If you render it, how it will look like without even rendering it. Then there is also a ray tracer. That is, if you want to do rendering and you activate it, then the rendering dialog box will pop up for you. Then you can see that it will start doing the rendering for you. So you watch it closely. You watch. See, the rendering effects will start. You just have to be a little bit more patient. Normally, rendering takes time. So if you are not patient, you cannot do anything with regard to rendering. So let's be a bit patient. My PC is trying to respond to it. It will come. It's normal with any Revit usage. Whilst it is activating, let me make this point clear. You see, from the project browser here, it is more or less like the command and control center for the Revit setup. Anything you are doing, it's now coming. Let's see if the render is going to take off. There's no signal yet, but at least, yes, you see, it has now started rendering. It is going to take time to render and then give you very realistic impression of it. You see, that's one thing about ray trace rendering in Revit. With time, the more time you give it, the better the rendering will look. Okay, so just watch. It's just rendering. So whilst it is still rendering, you realize that we still have the views here that we can work with, and so on and so forth. But I think that if you give the rendering more time, we will see more of it as we go. But for now, let me wait. I'll come back to the rendering view later on. It's here. So I'll shift to another view and work. Then later I'll come back and check how far we've gone with our rendering view. Okay, so let's move on. Now if I go into the balcony view, you see that we have a 3D impression to the balcony view also in a wireframe mode. And now in that way you can decide to show it or not to show it. We have the public courtyard view. That's the public courtyard view. Okay. Then we have the from the parking area view. That's the startup screen that came when we started. Then we have the default 3D view, which gives you an isometric view. And that one you can easily control it with the view cube, as you can see here. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now there are elevation views also. The east elevation. We have the north elevation. And then we have the north elevation is also open. This is the north elevation. The south elevation. And then the west elevation. See, the south elevation came colored because the visual style had been set to shaded. If you change it to hidden, it will go to hidden. If you change it to shaded, it will move back to shaded. You can do the same thing for the other elevations also if you want. Okay, so in a situation whereby you want for the same elevation a colored and then a hidden elevation, and what you need to do is that you can make a duplicate copy of one of the elevations and then display it as hidden, and then the other elevation you display it as well as shaded. There's a section through the stair here, building section through the stair. So you see that there's a building section through the stair, as you can see here, showing you the floors, the curtain walls, the furniture, the roof members, the lighting fixtures, and so on and so forth. So if you zoom in and select this one, you see that this one gives you is a group of objects that have been grouped. Then you can tap through them. See, if you tap through and you select it, so to tell that this one is a pendant light linear lamp with all the properties associated with it. Let's look at the typical wall section here. That's the typical wall section, as you can see. Let me go and check how far our rendering is going. So you click on this drop down arrow at the extreme right here, then all the list of objects that you are working with will show here, and our rendering was associated with which of the views here, public day rendering. That was why we started rendering. Let's go and see how far our rendering is going. Oh, it wasn't this one. Yes, it's rendered. Now the effect is far better than it was before. Okay. So then we come back and check again. Now you see that the walls effects are now showing better than it was before. You can see the tree items and stuff. Okay. Let's go on and look at the other views. The detail at grade here. You see this one is a detailed drawing being annotated with what? A text here. These are all text objects that they do, so you can click on it and then type whatever you want in here. Okay, good. Uncle, how are you?
Oh, fine.
You're fine.
Yes.
My chief commander is here. My commander in chief is here, helping me out with what I'm working on. Then there's a detail at the parapet also. Keep quiet, I'm doing something. Okay, don't talk. Okay. There's a parapet here showing you the details of the parapet. This time around, if you check here, it wasn't a text object that you are working with, but it's rather a keynote tag that was used to label the items here. So you can either use to annotate your objects with keynote, or you can choose to annotate them with text. Okay, depending upon what you want to do and the flexibility you want to choose from. Either way can help you do the proper annotations also. This is a rendering from the car park area at 3 p.m. specific time. Okay, now let's look at there's a walkthrough here. Let's look at the walkthrough. A walkthrough gives you the ability to navigate through the building with a camera. Okay, all the building elements are at a standstill. There's only a camera that moves through. So you select the walkthrough view like this. When you select it, then you go to edit walkthrough. Then from the edit walkthrough, you choose play. When you choose play, it will start playing back. Okay, and it will navigate you through the project for you to see what is actually going on within the project. Now it is moving frame by frame. You can set up how many frames and the time interval for each frame. So if you want a very realistic representation, there are settings that you can also use to do so that you can get the realistic representations that you want. So that is a walkthrough, as you can see.
It's hot too.
It's hot. Don't touch it. Okay. It's okay. Shh. Keep quiet. Okay. Now let's look at the area plans also. If you look at the entry level area plan, it has been color coded. Okay. With some specific colors. So if you zoom in to say the top here and you hover over them, you should be able to select the area from it. Just hover your mouse. Yep. If I click here, it gives you that this one is a room. Okay, this is a room property, but there should also be an area property. Yep. You see that there's another one here. This is also the area. I don't know why they want to display the room and then the area at the same time. This one is an area property here, giving you the name of a service area and then number of 1. But the same item here is also called a room. If you look at it and select this one, it's called a room. Okay, you should know when to use an area and then when to use what? A room. Now, when you come in here to the left, let me explain what I mean. When you come in here, for instance, see that this one is a specific room. This one is also another room. And here is also another room. And here is also another room. But in all, if you put the whole of this together here, it gives you an area, putting all the rooms together into one unit. And this area is called the administrative ward or administration area. So you can calculate the gross area and then get the rooms. Okay, so that's an area plan that has been color coded. I think they have the same thing for the other floors also. Yes, this is for the first floor, and then this is the second floor. And you can generate schedules for these areas. You can generate schedules for these rooms and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's all for the views. But there's no legend view within this project, so I'll go straight away to the schedules. Good. There's an area schedule here. So let me open it. This will open the area schedule for the project that we've done. There are basically the total area generated from the building so far is about 5,011 meters square, with the administration area occupying 441 meters square, circulation area 1,828 meters square, and then instruction area 2,060 meters square, with service area being 682 meters square. When you click on an area like this one, let's say the administrative area, and you highlight it within the schedule, you can go to the modify schedule and quantities panel here, and you see elements, highlight element in module here. When you click on it, it will show you this area where it appears within the project. So it will bring you straight to where it is. And when you select it, it shows that show elements in view. Click the show button multiple times for different views. So if I click show here, it will show me another administrative area within the project if there's one. Yes, so this is also an administrative area on another floor, as you can see. If I click on show, it will show me another administrative area. It will open another administrative area for me also to see. Okay, so to bring it back to where we were, so basically there are two administrative areas within the project, as you can see. I can then close it. Now if I go back to my schedule and quantity gross building, I can go in and then look at my, say, the instructional area here. So when I click on the instructional area, I go to highlight a model. To highlight the instructional areas in the model for me to see, as you can see here. Okay, if I go to show, to open another view with the appropriate instructional model. So this time around we are on the area plan, gross building, 02 floor. That's what it is, and it is highlighted in the project browser here. If I go to show, to open another view, the area plan, gross building, 03 floor. So that's what we show, and to open the floor plan for me here. So if I go to show again, it will give me all the areas. You see that a menu will come and say all open views that shows highlighted elements are already shown. Searching through the closed views to find a good view could take a long time. Yes, I'll go to OK to continue. So it gives me the entry level one. Show, that's what we started with. Then it comes to 02 floor here. Then I'll go to close. Okay. I can also open the door schedule. I can also open the door schedule here. And it gives me the schedule of doors. Actually, it's not formatted, but you see the door number, the door width, the door height, the hardware group, the type of door, the material of door, the failure rating, the comments have all been included in the long list of schedule, as you can see here. You see, there's a long list of schedule items here, but it's not formatted. You can also see our furniture schedule. All the furniture in it. This has been formatted a bit, giving you the count, and some have even been given a specific cost, but no unit related to the cost. So the cost value is just 4,500. But I don't know whether it is dollars or Ghana cedis or pound or Dutch mark, or you cannot know. Okay, so it's just defined as a cost here. Hardware schedule. It's given a schedule of hardware being used in the project also here. You can do all of them. Okay. Landscape schedule. The plant names and then the account. There's mass floor schedule, parking schedule, and even room finish schedule, but I'll not go to all of them. So let's look at sheets. Oh, there are only 2 sheets in this project. So let me open the first sheet one. There's one sheet with entry level floor plan on it, and the title with also a title block. And if you select the title block, you realize that this one is an A0 metric title block, as you can see, and the view on it has a scale of 1:100, as you can see. Now on the sections also, there's a section sheet here. There's a section sheet showing you the sections and all the details, as you can see over here. Okay, so there's the section sheet, as you can see here. The families also includes all the family objects that was used to work on this project, from annotation symbols. Here the annotation symbols are a long list through ceilings or cable trays all the way up to windows here. And there's only one fixed window in this project, and there are about several types of it. When you check the walls also, there's several basic walls loaded in the project. I don't know whether all of them were used in the project, but later on we find out. But There are also furniture floor items here. There are so many floor types also used in the project. If you go to groups, there are about 3 detailed groups within the project, and there's no model group, only detailed groups that you can see here, and there's no Revit link. We will pause here for now and then look at other projects. I'm going to close this file and explore the structure file also. So I'll close all the files and then open them. Go back to file menu, go to open, scroll down to sample files, and open advanced sample project structures. The Revit sample structures file advanced also starts with this default 3D isometric view as a startup view. That's the entry level plan, which shows columns and the relationship with others. There are a lot of grades. If you come here, you see a curvilinear grade. This is also a grade. If you select it, it's a grade from the properties. Okay, it's a grade. So you can have a curvilinear grades. You can have linear grades. If there are dimensions here. Okay. Let's go to entry level. This is entry level, showing you the columns, column positions, and it's more analytic. So let me move to the analytic entry level for the level 1. Then let's move to level 2. Level 2 shows you all the beams, okay, and their associated numbers. Okay, so these are the beams beneath the slab. That's why they are shown hidden lines. So if you look at it, it's if you hover over it, it is a structural framing and concrete rectangular beam, 300 by 600, as you can see. You see, if you select the slab edge, this is the slab, as you can see, of the whole floor. And if you check the properties of the slab, you see that it is on the second floor level. It has height offset of 0. It is room bounding. And if you go to the dimensions, so these are the reported dimensions: the perimeter of it, the area, the volume, the elevation at top, elevation at the bottom, and then the thickness. Okay, as you can see. Let's go to the second floor analytic model. You see all the beam members shown in orange. Okay, as you can see, these are the analytic models of the slab. Then you go to the third floor. The third floor also is similar to the second floor. Let's look at the sub-level. I want to look at the roof. The sub-level gives you the footings, the pile footings, or the pile foundations that holds the whole structure together. Okay. Now this is an analytic 3D model view, showing you all the members, the stair shafts, the slab, the beams, the columns, and how they all fit together. Okay. If you select this one, for instance, it gives you the area loads assigned to the slab. In this case, to the roof level slab. If you come to the first floor, there's also its own area loads. If you zoom into one specific, say, column, say this column, this is the analytical column, analyzed as a gravity object. Okay, if you go to analytical alignment, it's manually adjusted to the, in terms of top alignment, and then all these things you can modify them. Okay, the base is fixed, and then the top is also fixed. If you want to find out about more of the member forces, you click on edit. And if you click on edit, the member end forces diagram will show you, and show you the appropriate forces at the bottom and at the top in terms of X, Y, and then Z. Okay, they are all shown here. Now move to the east elevation of the model, the north elevation, the south elevation. If you go to the south elevation, you see that you see a truss member here. Okay, when you select it, it will tell you that it's a truss, M-Pratt flat truss. Okay, which you have to read the views, and it has its own members inside it, truss members. So if you type over it, you can slap a member of it, which is a MHSS round member, truss member. If you go to the extreme left here also, you can see a beam with reinforcement members. And if you select the reinforcement members, you realize that this is a reinforcement rebar of 16 mm size. Okay, and it has a maximum spacing parameter, layout row of maximum spacing with a spacing of 150 in between them, and it gives you a total of 53 members in between the spacing. If you increase the spacing from 150 to 300 spacing, as in this one, then you are getting members of about 27 members in between. So let me restore it back to the 15 members. I made it 15 instead of 150. 150. It's normal, and you can always update it to the value that you want. Let's go to the elevations, framing elevations. There's one elevation, a framing elevation, which gives you detail of the truss and how it is connected to the columns. Okay, some of these truss members are not properly joined to the top cord, but there are ways and means that you can use to get these modifications rightly done, so they are properly represented. This is just a schematic of it. The building sections. This is a wall section showing you the structural members in between. So you can see that there's a rebar, then there's a rebar here. Because the representation is shown as a detail level course, that is why we are seeing it as line. But if we change it to medium, you see that the members will show as full members, as you can see, iron rod members. And if you further change it to fine, you can see all the members properly here. Because it's thick line, let me do 10 lines so you can see all the members and how they are related to each other here. If I zoom to the bottom, you see the members very well, the structural members, as you can see. Let's look at the mainstay. This is the mainstay area, but the mainstay is not depicted well. Powerful reinforcement opening. If you look through very well and zoom, you see that there's a members here. There's a structural member here. And there's also another structural member here. However, there's an opening here. But the detail is not well shown. Okay, it's not well shown. Reinforcement of a beam. Beam reinforcement. If you look at a cross-section tray beam, you see that there is a beam here with a stirrup. And if you select the stirrup, you can get the properties of the stirrup in the properties here. Good. You can get a schedule mark for the stirrup, the shape, the geometry is shape driven, the style, the shape of the stirrup is given MT1. hook at start is given and hook at end is also given. You can see that the layout rule for the stirrup is also given, maximum spacing. That's the same stirrup you look at that, but this time we are looking at it in section. Okay, and if you zoom in for that, these are the other members that makes up the beam. This is the intermediate bar, this is the top bars, and then these are the bottom bars. Okay, and if you select a specific bottom bar, you can see the length of it. Okay, the bar length, the total bar length, and all those things are all given here. Now let's go to reinforcement sketch. Here is a reinforcement also, but if you look at it, this time around, it's a reinforcement rebars which you see here. Okay, that is seen here, and then this is the bottom bar. These are the top bars. And you realize that there is this rebar also here, hook bar, that is connecting the slab to the column ahead of it. Okay, better. Roof slope slab. Slope slab for the roof. The slab is sloping here, but you see we've modified the slab so that the slab will slope and give it a slope direction in this angle. If I bring in the annotate tool here, manage annotate, and then go in and look for spot slope here. Okay, I can use the spot slope and then put on it, and I can easily determine the slope of it, which is 0.32 degrees. Okay, the same thing here is also 0.32 degrees for the objective. Detail views. Typical column detail. We can get a typical column detail here. Welded brace detail also. You can get also a welded brace detail, which has also been detailed. And if you zoom in and then select it, rather than if you use line work to further enhance the detail. Okay, diffuse line work to further enhance the detail. There are drafting views which you can use. This footing section is purely line work that they've done to support the work. It's pure drafting line work that is used to support the work. You are not limited as to what you want to do, but you can do anything. If I activate the line work, you see them properly. The members and then the column members, the rebar members, and then the finished grid and all the stuff you see here. If I deactivate the 10 line, you realize that they'll go back to the previous version. Footing section 2 is also a drafting view. Although I will not recommend it, but you can do it if when they need be, or better you can import AutoCAD drafting details and work with it. Do that to save you a lot of time, depending upon what you want to do. You see, all of these are drafting views. But one disadvantage about drafting views is that it's not a schedulable. Okay, you cannot schedule them because they are just line work that you can work with. Typical rectangular column tile. Okay, these are all drafting views. Although these things can be done in Revit, I don't know why they decided to use drafting tools to work on them here. Okay, and these are all drafting, and it's a mechanical work. These are all drafting text. Something I would not recommend. Seriously. Now let's look at the graphical columns also. There's a graphical column schedule also, which gives you the list and then diagrammatical representation of all the columns that are being used in the project also. You see, if you zoom in, you see all the schedule of columns from start to finish, from floor level to another floor level. So you start from the basement level all the way to the last floor, and it gives you the title of structural column schedule. So if you come in here, this is column on grade 1 A1. Okay, and these are all the columns: grade 1, grade A1.1, and then grade A2, and then grade A3, and so on and so forth. And if you see the size of the columns as they being scheduled and being annotated also. Let's look at legends. There's one legend object within the project, which we did not see in the previous files that we looked at. And here it gives you all these symbols that they use in the project. They did the legend of it and annotated them properly. So this one, for instance, gives it expand direction symbol. a rebar tag symbol, a grid head symbol, a spot elevation, exterior fix, and then a view scale symbol also. Other schedules, yes, there is also one schedule. There is only one schedule table within the project, and if you open that one schedule table, it is a concrete beam schedule, and this concrete beam schedule is giving us all the beams that they worked in the project with, and then the associated rebars that is connected with them. So beam B, the type is B1, B2, and then B3, 3 types of beams. And the beam 1 is has a size of 400 by 800, B2 300 by 600, and B3 600 by 900. They're giving all their bottom bars and then their top bars. Okay, and they have given the remarks, their structural usage, the volume of each beam, and then the cost for each beam, and then the total cost for the beam. So the total cost is the cost per unit per volume multiplied by the unit cost, and that gives us the total cost, which means that in Revit you can do computation by multiplying one parameter by another to give you the total cost if you want to. Good. Now let's look at sheets. There are some few sheets in Revit. This is the wow. The sheet is way bigger than or way smaller than the view that is on it. The sheet is about A1 metric sheet. Wow. And this view is at our scale. Oh, this case custom of 196. No. Let me change it to, let's say 1 in 100. 1 is to 100 view size. It's still too big for the view. 1 in 200. Yes, 1 in 200 fixed onto the sheet appropriately. So you see, once you are on the sheet, things are more easy to appreciate than when you are not on the sheet. So it's better you populate your views on the sheet and see how they fit together. Okay. Now, if you go on to further sheets, let's look at graphical column schedule. So it's only graphical column schedules all the way to there. Let me look at the last one too. It's also a graphical column schedule, and then typical detail sheet. So it gives us some details of it, which were the 2D drafting that we saw. So which means that most of the views that were generated within this drawing were not populated on sheets. Something, I don't know why they would do that, by the way. And if you look at the families too, let's focus on the structural components here. There are structural area reinforcement objects, only one type, structural beam systems, and there's under structural beam systems, there's only one type and one family. Structural columns, 3 families. Under the structural column, a rectangular column, we have 3 types. Under the structural round column, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4 types. Under the UC universal columns column 2, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types. Structural foundations too, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 families loaded within this project. And if you go to foundation slab, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 types. So all these are all the types of foundation slab associated with the foundation slab. If you check the foundation wall also, I think there are two types also of foundation walls. Structural framing members, there are a concrete rectangular beam, round HSS round, MHSS square, the UB universal beams, which are all loaded into the project, and each of them has specific types under them. Okay. Now this is how Revit is organized. Now you should appreciate this organizational arrangement before you can work on any project and see how it works or it all fits together. Let's go to Revit links. There's currently a link here, Revit Technical School metric, which has been unloaded. Let me see how it works. Let's go to 3D view. You see that it is unloaded, but we can load it to see how the whole thing fits together with this project. So I'll right click here and then choose reload. Link document program blah 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 cannot be found. The link could be unloaded. Okay, So we have to reload it from the source. So I'll right click here, reload from, so that I'll go to the source where I know the file is, which is on the program data folder, and then load it from there. So I'll go to reload from, then go to my computer, drive C, program data, then a program data, look for Autodesk, then go down. It's programs data, drive C, program files, Autodesk, then zoom down to Revit 2020, Revit content 2020. I think it's Revit 2020, Revit 2020. Then go to samples. Then do the samples, look for the technical school M current, which is here. And if I go to open, then the architectural model will be loaded into this one. Because the link cannot be loaded because it is loaded in another open document. Okay, I didn't close the first document. Okay, so let me close hidden some of these files, and then close the architecture model from here. Close it. Do you want to save changes? No. So now that it is closed, I can reload it again. Reload. This time it remembers the path, so it is going to reload the architecture model. Yes, so the architecture model is now loaded in addition with the structural model. So in effect, we are seeing two files loaded here. Okay, if you orbit it, you can realize that you can see the architectural elements like the curtain walls and stuff. And you can also see the structural members. You see, you can see the architectural slab and then the structural floor overlapping, as you can see in this view. You can see here. Okay, so basically this is on the Revit structure file also. So the next file I'm going to open and then look at is a Revit MEP file for the same structure. So I'll go to file again, then choose open, go to sample files, and then go and open Revit MEP. Let me sort by projects and then look for the Revit MEP file. Okay, and open it. That's one thing. You see, it is taking a longer time to open. When the specification, it will open alright, but when the specifications of your machine is weak, these things is likely bound to happen. So in using Revit, it's better you get a very good machine that will help your work properly. I would advise a workstation. This is a cutout view of the plumbing members, and this is a startup view that shows within our project. But let's go to the model or the views panel and then see. Let me minimize the views. Now, if you look at the MEP project browser, you realize that most of the items are populated apart from the Revit links. Okay, you see that we have views, we have legend items, we have schedules and quantity items. When you see plus sign next to it, it means that there are sub items under them. You appreciate it. Yeah. When you go to the schedules, there are more schedules here. When you go to the panel schedules, there are also panel schedules. There are reports here. There are sheets. There are families, and then there are groups also. It is only Revit links that there are nothing under them. Okay. So let's start with the sheet in this case. So I open a sheet and I open the electrical power riser diagram. You can open any view at any time you want. You can open any sheet at any point, any time you want. It depends upon the kind of information you want to convey. If you zoom in here, although it's a very big sheet that is introduced, but there's only a small view, one single view that is placed on the sheet and showing you the electrical power and then the various panels that have been placed within the project and worked with. If you go to the other view here, which is the other part of the building, you can see some mechanical objects and how they are connected electrically by other objects also. And the detail is not very clear for you to translate any meaningful understanding of what you see. Because here, you can see a light fitting here with an electrical cable. Let me see if I can select it. Activate the view here. If I select it, this one is basically it's a flex duct, but it's showing line work because the detail level is shown to coarse. If I change the detail level to medium, you see that you see the members very well. So although the view is telling us that it is an electrical panel diagram, it is still depicting mechanical equipment, mechanical ducts and stuff in the view, which is something a bit weird, because I assume and expected that I should only see electrical stuff in this view, but I'm seeing more of mechanical than electrical. This view is unnamed. So if I open the unnamed view, also it's also a different sheet with sheet number E201. E meaning electrical view. Or electrical sheet. When the view opens, it shows you a typical layout of an electrical drawing, showing you lighting fixtures positions and switches position, equipment positions and stuff, and how they are all connected together by wires. Okay, you see that they are all shown in the diagram here. If you zoom into this particular area, for instance, the bathroom area here, you can see there are some plumbing elements here, which you can see, and this electrical light, which has been properly annotated. And if I open that, I can select the view, for instance, then I activate the view on the sheet. And when I do activate the view on the sheet, I can then zoom in and select a specific item and then look at what is inside of it. And if I select this item, it's a M lighting fixture circuit tag. Okay, this is a circuit tag, which is the A item you see. But if I select this object underneath it, it gives me M lighting fixture, a play recessed lighting fixture. This is a recessed lighting fixture, which you can see. So it's a recessed lighting fixture with a tag associated with it. Okay. And if you select it, you see all the lighting properties associated with it, the power properties, and all the lighting parameters, the voltage, the lighting and everything. You see them all over here. If you zoom in to the top here, you see more of lighting, different lighting types which have been loaded and how they've all been connected by cables to the panel source. If I move up here also, you see that there are more lighting. Here you see there are more of a rectangular lighting fixture type. Okay, and this one, or linear lighting fixture type, and this one is more pendant, or let me say a lighting fixture with a square format, as you can see. When I open this sheet also, the north level 1 lighting plan. This time around, it's showing you a particular section, a call out of the north level, which has been separated from the main module here, and showing you the lighting plan for that particular view. And then if you go to this section down here, it's giving you a specific section through that particular area, showing you how the other equipments are related in the view. You can see that we have switches down here. You can see some of the sockets and switches around here, which you can manipulate. So if I zoom in, for instance, here, and I activate the view from the sheet, and you select it, and this object that you select, will tell you that it's an electrical fixture, a duplex receptacle, and the standard type. If you select this one too, it's also a duplex receptacle, a standard type. And all of these things can be managed, and you can know and schedule all of them because they are all 3D components that have been loaded into the project. This one is an empty sheet, so I'll not open it. Let me open the sheet. This is a mechanical legend sheet. This is a mechanical legend sheet. They've done a sheet here showing you the legend of all the important mechanical components that they work with. It includes abbreviations. Okay, all the abbreviations that they've used in the documentation process for the mechanical drawing. This one is the ductwork sheet for metal. Okay, all the duct that they are working upon, they did a legend of them. And when you activate the sheet, when you take this legend for instance, you can just activate that view and then look at the members here. Wow, you see, it's line work. It's detailed line that you use in doing all this things. Something I would not advise, okay, to use for your work, because you can easily generate this one from the model itself. Deactivate the view. Let me check the other legend component here also. Activate. Now I come here, they are all line work. All line work. And this can be very deceptive. And if you do a lot of these things in your project, then it will cost you in terms of proper documentation. Then you have to be manually typing some of all these things, which is something not advisable in a BIM environment. Okay. Deactivate the view. I guess they're all line work for the sheet. These are all part. I think the same thing. You are all normal text and stuff. I was exploiting the legends. So basically, this is how the sheets are also organized. Now let's look at the views. And the views, they've been this time you see that there's a bit of some organization here in terms of design and then documentation. If I select the views here, you see there's a views advanced. And I go to the properties palette, is the browser views advanced. You see that there are other options that I can choose from. Views advanced and then views all. If I choose views all, for instance, you see that you see all the floor plans, all the ceiling, just like we did in architecture, and it's a list of floor plans which have been created here because this one drawing contains about 3 drawings for three disciplines: mechanical, electrical, and then plumbing, and all of them are here, so it becomes very difficult for me to manage. So if I go in and change it to say discipline and type, for instance, so that it is now properly sorted by electrical and then mechanical, and I think they've also grouped the mechanical and plumbing also together here. Or maybe there's no plumbing, or there's plumbing, I can see piping plan here. So the mechanical and plumbing have been grouped together, and then the electrical too has been separated together on a different file. But let me go back to the default and then look at it at the advanced stage. When we look at it, we have the design, then we have the documentation views. When we go to design views, we have all views, FP, floor plan views, HVAC design views, HVAC zonal views, HVAC modeling, lighting, piping, plumbing, and then power. So if you look at it, under the piping, there's only floor plans. But if you come to power, there are floor plans and there are elevations. And the only east and south elevation have been assigned to the power unit. So if you go to a power unit and I open ground floor level 1 power, for instance, it will show me all the power items related to the ground floor. Good. So when you zoom in and you come in here, let me zoom in a bit. You see all the power related receptacles here. Now let me zoom in and see if I can select one of them. Yep, if I select this one gives me a M duplex receptacle, the standard one. Okay, a duplex receptacle. If I come in here and I select this one, this is a piping fitting. Okay, so you can see, although it's a power plant, but I'm also seeing piping fitting in the power plant. Wow. Okay, ideally this should not be depicted in the power plant because you're looking at power plant. I don't know why a piping element should be seen here, because the piping element has nothing to do with the power plant. And if I select the power plant, there's no information. It's just a hydronic supply, a copper pipe. And I don't think it has anything to do with power. This one you see on the left here is a cable tray. Okay, this is a cable tray that you can use to arrange your electrical cables and stuff in the drone. So you see, Revit model, depending upon how you see it and depending upon how you work with it, you can use it in such a way that life will be easier for you, or depending upon how you manage it, it can also be very complex and make things very difficult for you also. What I see here is a horizontal efficiency. I think it's a mechanical equipment. Okay, mechanical equipment also. Why would they combine mechanical equipment into a power plant? I don't understand. By the way, as you move over, you understand why I'm making this point. So take note of some of these things. Let me look at the power plant too. The same as the previous power plant. Let me see if I can appreciate something on the 3D plumbing. You see, this is a 3D. This is supposed to be a 3D plumbing view, but I can see a lot of mechanical stuff within this view, which in effect is very confusing. I was expected to see a 3D plumbing representation of what I see here, but I see ducts, mechanical equipment, I see lighting fixtures, and a lot of things. I see plumbing elements here also, which is the focus of what I'm really supposed to see, but I think they are overshadowed by this mechanical stuff also. Let me see this one, plumbing domestic water. Okay, this plumbing domestic water view shows me the plumbing equipment as to how water is supplied to it. I think they have cold and hot water supply to the plumbing fixtures. And this equipment you see here should be a heating water heater of a sort. It's a mechanical equipment, yes, water heater, good. So this is a water heater, okay, that you can use to supply hot water to the facility. And the water heater, it takes the water source from the main supply pipe from here, brings the water heater, heat it up, then supply it to the terminal equipment which you see over here. Let's look at plumbing asymmetric waste. This one is the plumbing for the wastewater pipes. So we have the WCs and then we have the sinks here. So how the WCs are connected, I think I should a bit small. Let me, from the orbit to make life easier for me, I'll take the center and drag it to here. Because the plumbing equipment is selected, it's not giving me that. So let me deselect it before, because Revit, remember, it I selected last time. So I'll come in here, take the 3D view, take the center, drag it to say this point here, Good, and I update it about that point so I can see all my plumbing members and how they all fit together in terms of connection. Okay, see the double connection of the WCs and how they are connected to the main member to the left here, which is directed to the main horizontal vertical member here, as you can see. Okay, so these are the views, and the views are many. So if you're a mechanical engineer or electrical or plumbing, you can take your time, open each of these views, explore them, and see how best they all fit together. Okay, now if you go to documentation views too, we have power documentation views, and go to floor plans and open, say, level 1 power plan. It will show you how the level 1 power plan have been documented properly for documentation purposes. Good. So if you look at this one, this is a level 1 power plan. It's depicting documentation, but I see little documentation on it. It's just mere diagrams. I can see some documentation here whereby these panels have been labeled. For instance, okay, LP 1B, MP 1B here. Then if you go here also, I think there's little documentation, basically mere drawings and stuff. You don't see any much of documentation in here as is expected. Level 2 power plan. Level 2 power plan 2, you see, I can see the receptacles and how they are connected together, but I don't think they are properly documented. Please, I'll stop here and encourage you to take your time and then explore some of these drawings as time goes on. Okay, you can explore the schedules, for instance, the electrical equipment connection schedule, and how they all fit together, the HVAC zone schedules, and so on. So you just have to take your time and then go through them. So it's a good point to stop. Thank you very much for following.